So key to ensuring this process for us is to make sure that it's done in a transparent way. We want to engage the family members, the victims, the survivors, the first responders, and everybody that has a stake in this issue. Critical goal to ensure that it honors the victims and those that were impacted by the tragedy and pays tribute to the resiliency that the city and its residents presented after the Pulse tragedy. And that's why you guys are here today. Thank you for doing that. Part of the way that we can continue to educate and inform the public, and especially the families of the victims, is through the press, as well as some of the other efforts that I'll talk about that we're going to be making. So it is important that we do communicate with the victims' families and survivors. We are working on a process to directly engage and communicate with victims' families and survivors and first responders. So that is the first critical step that we're doing beyond the purchase. We have a dedicated web page now. It's cityoforlando.gov/Pulse Memorial. The One Pulse Foundation sent out an email on behalf of the City of Orlando to their database. So those that have received that email, hopefully you will sign up on our website so we can continue to update everybody as we go through the process. Another part of what we have done in the last month and a half or so since we've acquired the property is to try to get a specific understanding of the last 7 years of the history of the effort that went on, specifically through the One Pulse Foundation. We've had a couple meetings with them. One thing that they did do, the board agreed to share all the memorial design work that has been done with the city. We also, I don't think when we purchased the site and then realized that they would be winding down the foundation, needed to understand what other activities they were involved in other than trying to develop the memorial and the museum site. So two of those are the actual process, or the annual remembrance ceremony that happens on June the 16th every year. So the city will be conducting that, taking that over. The other one that we will be taking over from One Pulse is the annual community rainbow run that has been done in partnership with the UCF DeVos Sports Management Program. So there's a lot of details involved in both of those, as you might suspect, when we transfer over that, but we're already working on both of those. That's something that usually the way we do things in the city, we have started work on those probably 2 or 3 months ago. So the as we move forward, we believe the best approach to this is for the city to lead the effort. So we're going to utilize our existing 501c3 that has been in place and was used back when we did the raised funds that we gave directly to the victims right after Pulse. So we will establish under that the Orlando United Pulse Memorial Fund. It'll allow people to make contributions to the memorial specifically. So we want to make sure that we create the permanent memorial. We do it in a transparent way that gets as much input from as many stakeholders as we possibly can, that we get it done transparently and we get it done in a timely manner. So we will continue to update the community as much as we can throughout the process, and I appreciate you helping us do that. With that, I'd be glad to take some questions. Yes, ma'am.
I have a two-part question. How much money does the City of Orlando need to fundraise for the memorial? And also, how much money, if any, is the city receiving from One Pulse to contribute to the memorial?
Okay. I can answer the second part of that question. We do not anticipate receiving any funds from the foundation, and if there happens to be some, I'm not aware of it at this point. How much will it take? We're not certain of that until we determine what the memorial itself is going to look like. There's a lot of steps still to go in that. We have decision processes on whether the building will remain or be demolished or used in some parts, so we just don't have a figure yet on what the cost of the memorial will be.
With the fund that the city is setting up, What is your message to those people who may, want to contribute to that to assure them that these funds are going to be used and go towards what they need to go?
One of the reasons that we're not setting up a new separate unknown foundation is we think there's a level of trust with the City of Orlando. We've been part of this process from the day that it happened. So I think people know that if we say we're going to do something, we keep our word and we'll get it done.
On to that end, within the existing fund, is there any money from 7 years ago that's still in that fund, or is it starting at zero?
Starting at zero, brand new. Right now, I would say the only money that is invested in the Pulse Memorial would be the $2 million that we spent to acquire the site.
One Pulse Foundation and many of its former employees have said the money just wasn't coming in, that they were struggling to get those donations. What makes it different with the city, and how do you plan to raise the money?
I think the same question, or that I just answered, is a level of trust in the City of Orlando to do what we say. Most of the things that we have said that we were going to take on and do, we have done. So there's a level of trust. And then the transparency and the accountability that's going to be part of the process.
Mayor, in your discussions with the One Pulse Foundation, have they provided any lessons learned or beware of these pitfalls that you can learn from as a city to not repeat some of the things they may have done?
I don't know if it's a lesson learned, but I think that perhaps they lost focus on the primary mission of creating the memorial and had a lot of focus on creating the museum. We are solely focused on creating the memorial. I don't know that sometime in the future there might be a museum, but that is not on our radar. So we are singularly focused on making sure that the memorial is completed, and it is completed on the Pulse nightclub site.
Mayor, going
Mayor,
into
can you tell
20,
us, was
Greg?
in hindsight, it's always 2020, was it a mistake that the city did not take this over from the beginning? So that
You know,
we get to this stage?
it turned out that that wasn't an option because from the very beginning, when we were a little bit concerned about whether the property might be sold for some other use, we offered to purchase the property, and we actually had negotiated a contract to do that 7 years ago. And at that point, the owners decided that they would take on the process of creating a memorial and created the foundation. And the foundation was stocked with really good people that I had a lot of confidence in, and it just didn't work out.
take one more question. Mayor, going into 24, what are you guys looking at for next steps and how that public input process will look like?
So we're engaging with a number of different entities that have engaged with other communities during processes of that sort. So we want to finalize a process that everybody is comfortable with. So that's the primary focus right now.
Can you tell us, Mayor, specifically in the engagement with victims and survivors, since the purchase of the property, has there been a conversation with any of those people? And going forward, can you explain the process for engaging them in any design that happens?
So the first part is to identify and make sure we have the ability to contact as many of the individuals, either family members or victims or other folks that have an interest. So building that database, and then we are going to seek a number of different methods to contact and engage them. We have had direct contact with some, but I would not say it's in any way the majority of the individuals. So I would say it's a small subset for the most part, family members of victims.
Is there any updated timeline or vision for the project?
I would like to ensure that it is completed before the 10th anniversary of the Pulse tragedy.
What is your message for the people who donate to see this monumental, and it's been 7 years and they see nothing?
So that's in the past. We're just looking forward. I'm disappointed that the other effort did not come to fruition. I never asked for the city to be in the position of being the leader on this project, but we feel very strongly that we need to step in and to do this, and I can promise you that we'll get the job done. Thank you.
Everyone.